Hello students, welcome back to the sessions on plant layout. In previous classes, we have discussed with respect to all other elements as such, the objectives, importance, factors, and different types of plant layout and so on. Which has given us a brief idea about a plant layout is what and how it does have an impact with respect to operations management. So See, any establishment would have, prior to design or installation, even either it is a new establishment or revising the plant layout with respect to the existing industries or existing establishments. So it all has separate department with respect to who looks after the designing aspect is the planning or say an engineering department. So if we the large industries would have different subsidiaries or the family of their industry would one team would separately dedicatedly do all this planning work for such large industries. So this is nothing as such is defined in terms of strategy or policies with respect to designing or establishing the plant layout for any manufacturing industries. It is all referred as an art or a science which adds value to our manufacturing industries. So let's see, or this is the steps, or this is the structure would give us an idea to be presented in terms of designing plant or to be to establish plant layout. So the first step is to determine product analysis or the expected volume to be production. First, as a manufacturing industry, first we need to have an idea or and decision with respect to the product what we are supposed to be produced, the designs and the size and the other elements with respect to product has to be analyzed and would have a decision with that, and the volume to be produced. What is the expected volume to be produced with respect to that plant, or yeah, respect to that plant has to be decided, which is a very important factor in which helps us in designing the plant layout. Moving ahead, next step is determination of appropriate process. So once we have the production, product we have idea, so we need to have a decision with respect to the process of production. We have different types of, or say, systems of productions which will help us to produce products. So we need to decide upon. We have a job shop, batch, continuous. We have such different product systems or say process which helps us converting process. So we need to decide upon the appropriate process which suits our production and the volume of the expected production. So the third step is to determine the type of equipments needed. So determining the equipments on the procuring the equipments again lies on the decision and the policies of management. Depending upon that, see, equipments decision of equipments decides on the policies on automation and the technology being adopted by the management. So here again the determination of equipments depends on the whether the production system is going to be a semi-automated or completely automated manufacturing system, or do we have any involvement in terms of uh, workmen's in terms of production process. So that has to be determined and decided upon, then we can design with respect to the plant layout. So the equipments being decided on the technological aspects and the automation aspects with respect to manufacturing units. So first we need to decide whether we are completely being automated and what is the technology we are going to adopt in terms of production. So this answer for these two questions would help us in acquiring the or determining the equipments required in terms of production process. Moving ahead, we have the fourth step is determination of number of workers required. No matter these days, we are more uh, dependent on the technical advancement. So the manpower is being replaced by the luxurious equipments or say highly advanced equipments, which has reduced the involvement of manpower in production place. So somewhere we also need workforce in order to operate such equipments. So we need to know what kind of industry we are and what is the system we are occupied with in terms of production process. Based on that, we need to determine the number of workers required in terms of production process. So at the fifth point, or say as a fifth step, then somewhere, at this point we'll be having certain set of ideas or certain set of informations which would required in terms of planning the layout. So we have done an analysis with respect to product and volume to be produced, and we have determined the process which is suitable for us, and then the equipments being designed, and the decision being made in terms of procuring the equipment. So once we have, and the number of workers to be involved, so once we have that, so finally we can decide in terms of the plant layout. We can draw a blueprint of our plant layout. So moving ahead, lastly we have a building design. This is quite important again. So once we have the site, we have to design a plant layout, and we have to design upon a building strategy. So what should be a building? It's a single floor building or multi-floor building. We have a different types of building to be set up with respect to manufacturing units, depending upon again the production of the number of volumes to be produced and the product to be produced. So it has a multiple decisions to be made with respect to building designs. So these are the main six steps, or six prospects where we can involve in terms of say we can know these are the different steps which we can include in the plant we can include it in layout planning. This was all about steps involved in layout planning.